So today we're looking at the best CDMs you can get in the game. They are starting to now get up there. We do find that CDMs and kind of centre mids sometimes take a little bit of time to get there because stats need to be on the absolute up. And you have your standards, you have your Matthias's, you have your Patrick Vieira's, and they are always there. Like, they are always absolute top. But when it comes to the likes of Rodri, again, a phenomenal card. If you do look at the list, he's number one in terms of everything. Rating wise, he is the top that you can physically get. Now, when it comes to actually being the player, I don't think he is really. And that's just down to pace, body type, and there's a whole host of things that really kind of mess with what makes a good CDM. Now, obviously with Rodri, he has got the Tiki-Taki Plus. That is very good at the start of the game. The Playstyle Pluses are far and few. Unless you're getting icons, unless you're getting the brand new specials that are the absolute tops. Even the Tchouaménis don't have a Playstyle Plus at this point. So we have got very little to go off. You're looking at like a Conte with an Intercept Plus. That is absolutely massive at the start of the game for a solid DM. Now, depending on your positioning, how you have your formation, will depend on what you need in a DM. Personally, for me, I'm very balanced. I'm a 4-4-2. I have my two midfielders. One is normally a DM. One is normally either an attacking midfielder or more likely like a Jude Bellingham. More box to box, but has a little bit of defensive prowess. If I was going into my 4-3-3 formation, I would normally have either two DMs and a cam, or a DM, a box to box, and a cam. The likely chance is I very rarely have two solid DMs. It can happen, and it depends on how good my cam is. If I want them to be pretty much out the midfield, or I want them to be a little bit involved, like how Bellingham can be. He's decent going up front, but then he's got a bit of defensive going back. He is predominantly more of the box-to-box variety, so he's less of a sort of like a Pele in that cam role, or somebody like a KDB. They're great at going forward, but you don't ask them to come back. Now, with CDMs, Playstyle Pluses are going to be massive, and also the Roll Plus is going to be massive. If we look at Rodri, in the DM role specifically, you have got the likes of holding defend, holding Roman, deep line playmaker, as well as then Roman, and then centre half is there as well. That's going to be pushing really far back. Now, also with that, I know the likes of Tchouaméni have been put into a centre back. We've definitely seen over the years a lot of centre backs that are better in that CDM as well. For instance, Mascherano was always quite a decent one. We saw Desai coming up there. Zanetti does. Lam does. There's a lot of midfielders or defenders that can play in that solid CDM. If you need coins in FC25, lootbar.gg has you covered. They are the cheapest trading platform on the game, 8 to 10% cheaper than any others, 8% off if you use the code JT11 at the end at checkout, plus you get 5% extra on coins, with the fastest delivery system going, used by many FC25 creators such as Zorki, Manny Plus, and even pro owners. So if you need any coins, head over to lootbar.gg, make sure JT11's in the promo code, and hopefully you enjoy. And really, with the defenders playing in that midfielder role, if I don't really want them to carry the ball too much, I don't need their dribbling too high, maybe a bit of composure, always great, agility balance just in case, but realistically I need a slight amount of passing to get the ball away, and I need the defensive unit, which if he's already a centre-half, a fullback, he predominantly has a decent amount of that. And because I don't need them carrying the ball, the pace is levelled. And that's kind of where Rodri comes into this, because realistically, he's not the fastest player on the pitch. More than likely, we will see him get a upgrade which just absolutely dwarfs the pace. He is a Ballon d'Or winner, and most definitely, there is content coming about it. Whether we get what people are expecting for a Ballon d'Or winner, I can't see us getting like for instance a 96 or 98 Rodri before Team of the Year. If we are going to get him, I think it's going to be a almost like one of them. It's not like a nominee, but do you know what I mean? Where it's like a flashback sort of thing. So it's like a holding place. Like the Team of the Year is going to be 99 guaranteed. But this is going to be like a 92, 93. It's a good pace upgrade for him. It's not going to be as good as his Team of the Year, but it's going to be enough to say, here's a Ballon d'Or Rodri you can complete, or pack. Hopefully it's an SBC. That will obviously shatter this card, because realistically the 66 pace can be an issue. If you are playing a very high line, you need the defense to really kind of hold that line, and then if you've got a CDM that drops in, he's not going to be able to catch anybody. Even with a shadow on him, still only 74, you've got to play it right. Hence why it's more of a passing game for him. Now, for me, I personally, and there may be people that like him in the S, I think he's very good at what he's got. He's got great defending, great physical, but I'd still put him in an A+. At this point, I think in my game, there's so much better options, in my opinion anyway. Now, obviously, I've got a few of the high ones here. I think Matthias is quite an easy one to go in there. He, again, is another card that is just so consistent across the board every year. He's got wonderful stats. Arguably, he's more of a box-to-box, but personally, I do like him as a holding DM if possible. He kind of is sitting there with Vieira. It's normally one or the other, but he does attack as well, so it's kind of one of them. I've just always liked him as a DM. Whereas then we've got someone like Lahm. Personally, in the right back card, I do prefer him as a DM as well. He can play the DM now, compared to previous cards where I think it needed an upgrade. Before the alternative positions came in, obviously you could only put the right back to right wing back, so you couldn't even put him in the CDM. Whereas now he has got that positioning. The intercept is wonderful. Desai, a little bit less for this card. He can obviously play in the DM role, but I would say he's going to be better off as a centre-back to start with, and then as he progresses with a bit more on his agility balance, a little bit more on the passing, a bit more comfortable on the ball, that's where he personally becomes much better in that DM role for me. As a centre-back right now, like, he's clear in the S, but I'd say I need a little bit more going forward. We've got a few of the lower players as well. We look at the likes of Camavinga, Andre, and with the factor that we've got so many evolutions, like a crazy amount. Like we look here, we've got, say, 6, we've got 9, 12, 15 evolutions at this point. Like, we had 17, 18 like 2 days ago. A few have expired. It's crazy how many we've had and how many CDMs you truly can get. When you look at the players and you can go into like your CDMs here, we can see so many options. Now, obviously, there's going to be a few that are multi-evolutions, a few of the silvers and bronzes that have come up through like a glow-up or something along them lines. But then you look at something like a Camavinga now. Go into that 86. There is possibility absolutely everywhere. So I'm hoping as well with the likes of Andre, it's going to be fantastic for someone like him as well in the very not so far future, because obviously he's only 84. Could he get an evolution anytime soon? That's going to be the interesting one nonetheless. We do have the likes of the Trailblazer Turbo as well. It doesn't quite fit Zachariah because it was an 85 max, but again, there is possibility for that. In terms of where I would put them, I think we'd look at Camavinga now towards the A. I think he's good at what he does, but he is slightly losing out a little bit more now on the stats. You could possibly even argue going down to the B without that evolution. I think Patry, the long ball plus is a massive one as always. There's definitely different types of what you want from your midfielders in terms of playstyle pluses, and it really depends on their role. Whereas with Patry, she's very much all about the passing. She's great at getting the ball. Defensively, she's absolutely sound, but she's so much better as if you can get the ball back, give it to her, and then just pop it left, right, and centre. That's what the long ball plus really does for her, and it will work absolutely massively. If I look at the other player styles we got, so realistically, we don't need any shooting from them. Having a power shot on a centre mid, a cam is going to be brilliant, but as a CDM, I don't really need it. Power header might be a little bit of a waste as well. Passing wise, incisive, long ball is always nice. Whipped pass would be a little bit of a letdown. Tiki-taka, depending on how your game is, it could work. If you are exceptional at passing, then it could work. But I would definitely say long ball, incisive would be my personal 2 favourites. When it comes to the ball control, technical and trickster, for me, are out the window. Rapid as well, to be fair. If we're looking at a solid DM, I don't need a rapid on them. Press proven, if there's absolutely nothing else, again, I could get behind it. First touch as a last-ditch attempt, again, could be behind it. But realistically, we're looking at the physical or the defending. Aerial plus, always brilliant. Relentless last, I'd say last ditch again. Long throw, don't even talk to me. But when we're looking at the defending, I personally really like intercept. I think anticipate will always be good. Slide tackle, maybe not as much. I don't mind it on a centre-back, but I'd say it only has certain merit for a CDM. There's not many times where I'm making that last-ditch challenge with a CDM. It's more going to be a fullback or a centre-back. Jockey's never bad if you're pretty good at containing. Block's always good. Bruiser, again, last ditch on a defender in my opinion. So there is going to be different ways that you can go about it, and your playstyle is going to vary what you prefer. Maybe you are more confident with your defensive back line. Maybe you've got a back line of 5, maybe a 4, and you're just that good at defending. You could have just the passing traits on them, and it could work. Sissoko, on the other hand, absolutely fantastic card. Again, another one that really did do well from the evolutions. Now, unfortunately, they have expired now, but you could make them into an 86 with the new foundation evolutions, and you could put them into both, which was just unbelievable. So I don't know if they broke that or that was whatever, but for 25k, you got yourself an unbelievable. I'm taking this as the evolution. I don't know if I can put him back into the evolution. Let's see if I can evolution builder. If we put Sissoko in, you can see the level of stats in comparison. So we got 2 possible upgrades. He could basically go into these. So he could go back to back with them. So if we was to go base card and then was to go this one and then this one as well. This was the level he got. 4-star, 4-star. He already had the long ball plus. Great pace, great passing, dribbling, defending, physical. He was absolutely fantastic. For 25,000, 2 free evolutions, he was an absolute must in that role. We then have the likes of, do we even put Patry in? Personally, for me, I would drop it down to an A+ now. Mascherano, slide tackle plus, like I said with the DM, it's not necessarily needed, and I think like Desai, he will become much better in that role as we go forward. Then we look at the likes of Andre, and we've got 2 Zacharias. I'd probably at this point put them down that little bit more. I think Zachariah does hold a bit more on the physical side, which is always nice. And then we have the 2 showdowns. Love the card design, not going to lie. It's a beautiful one. Obviously with them 2, was a bit disappointed because of what you can already put with them. Because when you look at the SBCs, we're looking at 50,000 for both of them, give or take. I can already put him into an 86. Now, don't get me wrong, if I put him into this, for instance, he gets the press proven, but realistically the stats, he gets 5 better defending on this version. So a considerable upgrade. But the fact that I didn't have to spend 50k doing the SBC for the chance, it's now at the point where it's hindsight. Like obviously if he didn't get the upgrade, the 100k wouldn't be too bad, and it would be twice or double the upgrade in comparison. So I get that it is 100k, but I think there is also the Playmaker, which is free. He doesn't necessarily get the upgrade like the no pressure, and I'd say that technically actually it's not. I mean, it's slightly better, to be honest. Only 3 defended, and that one is free. So it's a very interesting concept. I think these 2 for me were good, but the evolution is making it a little bit more impossible for them to ever have been at a decent value without being like 85 rated on the base before the upgrade. Ndombele, a great card for a cheap price, and obviously they're all cheap prices for a reason. He's 12k for that reason, but when you actually look at the card, like you whack an anchor or a shadow on him, 84, 83, 86, 92 on the dribbling, 86 passing. I mean, it's not a terrible card just because he's not a fantastic name. He's not booming in reputation. That doesn't take away from the card. Now, obviously, body type, skill move, weak foot will, no playstyle plus, roll plus will. There's a lot of factors in it, but in terms of the bog standard 12k card is a great price for it. We look at Stiller, he'd probably be about the same, to be honest, as well. There's a lot of these kind of lower rated cards where they are at least semi-decent in stats, and you could argue all of them till you're red in the face. But realistically, without any more upgrades, he'd be very much like Andre. You do have Thuram then as well. Another one that is absolutely unbelievable. Him and his brother just stole the show in the first 2 weeks. 85 rated. I want to say they drew yesterday, but I could be totally wrong. So I think if they drew, he didn't get the upgrade yet. He needs one more win for an upgrade. But if he did win, then obviously he's going to get it. So you know about it. But in terms of the card itself, is absolutely unreal. Now obviously he's starting to drop down. He's starting to come out of teams. He definitely plays better than his rating does suggest, which is always nice. But he is starting to come down. We saw now less Tarams in the team. I'm seeing less of him in the centre mid, but he's still hitting around there. Obviously with strikers, people are now getting the better strikers. CDMs, centre mids, there's still only so much of an upgrade that you can truly get. Obviously Tchouaméni, another great one. And to be honest, this is kind of the factor when you look at him. With Tchouaméni, he's a great card, but when you actually truly look at what you're paying for, 520,000, so great, decent price for what a name he is. Obviously total rush, centre-back, CDM, centre-mid. Now the price is going to have a factor that a lot of people are playing him in centre-back as well. But say for instance we go for the shadow chemistry, which is what everybody's going for. We're looking at 86, 95, 85, 82, 83. 3-star, so nothing impressive there. So if he's not a centre-back, this is what we're going off, because a lot of people do play him there, which I can kind of see why now. Obviously, he's going to have a decent amount of dribbling for a centre-back, but still no playstyle plus. So then we compare him, because obviously, like we said with Ndombele, in terms of the name of him, he's not on his level. But say we was going to do the same, say we was going to go and whack a shadow on him as well. We've got the 88 pace, and we'll do the same here. We've got the 86 versus the 88 pace. Shooting, don't really care. 86 passing versus his 82. 92 dribbling compared to his 83. 84 defending compared to the 95. That's where the shift really happens for a card like this. And then you've obviously got the 85 physical versus the 81. You could go really far down into it and look at the dribbling, look at obviously the composure side of it. Obviously you've got 94 versus 87. It's a good composure for Tchouaméni. It's mainly the agility balance where he's getting him more so than anything. And then the same with the strength and aggression. Very similar. It is mainly the stamina and jumping that is getting him in. Then obviously you look at the 3-star, 4-star, both of them no playstyle plus. Height wise, we got info. We've got 5'11 versus 6'2, so there is an advantage on Tchouaméni, but 500,000 coins more. It is crazy on stats alone. It's a lot more deeper than that, and it's why I try and go as in detail with a lot of these niche ones, the CDMs, the cams, the centre mids, because it's more than just a player and his stats. There is so much more to give, and obviously height's going to have a massive impact. And like I said, centre back is going to be more of a thing for him. Like that is going to put his price massively up. Apparently, he's one of the better CDM midfielders that can play in the centre back. We saw it years ago with Patrick Vieira. Everybody put him in that centre-back role. They'd start Matthias in the centre-back and switch him over because obviously he couldn't play there, whereas Matthias could. So it was just massive to put him in that role. Looking then going forward, we're actually going a bit over time. We've got Alex Garcia, good card, very cheap, nice and affordable. I do think Tonali is probably about that sort of level now as well. I would say Tchouaméni's kind of A tier on his gold version. I do like Conte with his intercept. It's one of my more favoured playstyle pluses, but again, they ruined him with the 2-star, 3-star. I mean, I know there's room to upgrade, which is fantastic, but they could have at least given him a free, like a 2-star. Come on now. I know he doesn't do that many skills, but it gives him that little bit of more prowess on the ball, dribbling-wise. We do have Tolisso as well from the World Tour. Looks an absolutely solid card. Very good across the board. 85, 88, 86. It's always decent. You could just go out and out shadow. Obviously give him an 89 and 90. I think he will definitely be one of them cards that is worth at least having a look at a minimum. We then have Arnold. He'd be quite an easy one in the A. Lee's, beautiful card. We love his team of the season, always. We then have Matuidi, fantastic card. Pinged pass, not necessarily it. And you can kind of see the theme with a lot of these weak foot and skill moves as we progress into the more higher rated cards. Slightly better, but also a lot of them are more considered box to boxes at times. So it is very interesting to see where they're going to upgrade next on these CDMs. Gattuso, well, he's definitely not in the S. He's one of them that is decent on like a day one, but I don't know why they screwed him over so much. He just, on the ball, he just isn't it. He's got the composure of 80, which I think is criminal for an icon regardless. Agility and balance, yes, it's a bit lower. I can understand. He's not necessarily the biggest dribbler in the game, but I mean, they absolutely killed him off with this card. I'd go as low as an A+, maybe going into an A in the next few weeks, but that's kind of about it for me. I'd say Ramirez as a DM, as a sole DM at the moment, would be kind of considered more of an S to S+. I would say Essien as a CDM is unbelievable there. Obviously, Yaya Touré's got to be there as well, and we do need Patrick there. They're there for a reason. Like, the prices of them are so high, it's unbelievable. And with, obviously, Yaya, there is the ability that people have actually got the upgrade pack to get him. Whereas when we look at, like, the higher rated Matthias, I can understand why he's a little bit lower, a little bit higher, because obviously nobody can get him yet. They unless you get him out of a pack specifically, we haven't had an icon base pack yet, which is why. Whereas we have had it for Vieira, but he's like the number one in that list, so he's not going to drop down anymore. It's coming in at 3 mil, whereas Yaya Touré is coming in at 1.5, and that's the PC market. We've got a very steady line with him, so it doesn't look like he's kind of going anywhere. He's at that absolute peak, in my opinion. We then have a look at, obviously, the Makaleles, the Rijkaards, the Xabi Alonsos. I think when we look at them personally, they're all very, very similar when we look at kind of just what they bring to the table. There's a decent amount of pace. There's a decent amount of defending. Some of them have got a bit more better passing. Obviously, most of them have got that 3-star. Rijkaard with the 3-4, same as Essien as well. I'd actually probably bring him down. I think it was the other way around that I was going, and I'd put them in this sort of territory. Now, obviously, with Trent, he's one of them ones that I think he is better at playing the fullback. That's kind of his role plus. I think he is one of them cards that I can never get away from being that centre mid. I don't know if we're going to have it on here. I want to say, what's it? Do we have it before this card? I want to say it might have been before this one, but this is realistically what we're looking at. The Ital, the Acuna, there was somebody else who I can't remember, the Rolfo, I suppose, from last year, in that centre mid where they couldn't just transform into that position. And obviously now with this card, he can go into the CDM. He's got the fullback plus, centre half plus, which is always a nice one, but I think he could definitely do a decent role in there. He's actually a pretty decent card across the board. Alaba, another one that obviously left back CDM. He's going to be one that is very close to kind of just being a solid DM more so than a left back. I do think he's much better. He's got a much better chance than being in that left back role. Mendy is just such an easy card to get now that I would say definitely putting him in a CDM and getting Mendy for your left back is going to be way better than trying to do it the other way around. It's very much like there is a left back who is, I can't remember who it is. Is it? It's not Grimaldo. There is a left back that is absolutely crazy with stats, and I cannot remember who it is because they've got the stats pretty much. Oh, it's Guerrero. Of course it is. In terms of kind of what we're looking at, he's obviously got himself the 82, 85, 88, 91, 84, 73. Can play in the centre mid, obviously with a tiki-taka, so that already says I need him at centre mid. I can't have him as more of a left back because the tiki-taka plus is not going to help any left back. Like, you need defensive playstyle pluses there. De Jong, quite an easy one to be honest. I'd go A+, and then I'd go S for his 88. It's only a slight upgrade, but it's enough. The 4-4 upgrade is at least decent enough. And getting back to Xabi Alonso, we look at him with obviously his long ball plus. It's got a decent amount of passing. Does need a bit of an upgrade now, I'm not going to lie. We are getting Centurions icons very soon, so that could have some weight with some of the centre mids and CDMs. Zaire Emery, I'd say Alaba now would probably be looking into more of an A+. Rice is a bit unfortunate. I do think he's just like, it must be the Arsenal effect, to be honest, because I think him and Saka should be better, should be way better. And yes, he's an 87 rated card, but in terms of everything else, is just very static. No playstyle plus, 3-star. Couldn't even give him the 4-star weak foot. it's just not enough, in my opinion, to really warrant him playing in any team until he gets that upgrade. And then Stanway is an easy A+. She, again, is a card that just continues to get better. So that's going to be the list for today. Let me know down below how you get on with it. Who's your DMs? Who's your CMs? And I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.